Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. My name's Drew Hellmich, and I'm a screenwriter. Film is a pretty sweet medium of art. However, before anything can make it to the big screen, it must start as a blueprint, text on paper. So if you're a fellow addict of film and storytelling, come join us as we take a look at various types of screenplays, short stories, and other source material that were crucial to the creation of the stories that we all love. I must warn you, though, there will be spoilers, so I do recommend being familiar with the title that's being discussed. Sound good? Cool. Then let's get started. So isn't it pretty crazy that 11 years ago from this recording that we could have had a first Halo movie, maybe followed by even more Halo movies?
Definitely more.
I mean, we're talking like a Star Wars franchise, Avatar-like franchise here, guys.
Arguably, if the Halo franchise was created, I'm going Halo Star Wars, hands down. Already step me up and argue with me.
What do you mean Halo Star Wars, hands down? What does that even mean?
Well, that was like Halo versus Star Wars. Like the Halo universe characters versus Star Wars character universe. That would be insanity.
As when it comes to franchise created movies, it would go number one, Halo, then Star Wars.
No way. No,
that doesn't make any sense.
Star Wars supersedes immediately.
You think, all right, well.
Oh, all right. He just caved so quickly.
Yeah. Hey, welcome to Screenplay Junkie. Drew Hellmich here with Matt and Bryan, and today we're going to be taking a look at Halo, one of the most pivotal first-person shooter games in the militaristic sci-fi series that we have. Now, let's just hop right into this, because I think this is going to be a crazy episode, guys. There's a lot to talk about.
I'm real excited.
Let's talk about the history first. Excited. So, 2001, we have Halo Combat Evolved. It comes out, and this basically is what helped launch Microsoft's first ever console, the Xbox.
Oh, I remember that one. Remember what? I'm trying to think of my favorite Xbox game besides like the original Halo. Is like Simpsons Road Rage. Was that one out there?
Yeah.
I mean, that was fantastic.
Are we talking 360?
No. The original Xbox, Brian. Original Xbox. I mean, there were GTA. There was Grand Theft Auto games for it.
Yeah. I mean, because we never had the Xbox. We would always have to go to somebody else's house to play it. We only had the PS2.
Right. We upgraded from Nintendo 64 to PS2, and then to Xbox 360.
That Gauntlet Dark Legacy grind, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can remember vividly like going over to friends' houses and playing the original Halo, and just loving it. I mean,
it's a great game. I mean, we could start a whole video game podcast probably.
I know.
If we want to do, but
it's
like we could just tangent. Cool. I mean, that would be kind of cool. So maybe one day.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, right?
So like we said, 2001, Halo comes out. Now, this game made a ton of money, and it actually scared the film industry. So in 2005, Microsoft announced that they would be hiring Alex Garland, who you may know, who also wrote 28 Days Later, Ex Machina, and Annihilation, to name a few. They hired him to write the script for Halo. They paid him $1 million just to do it.
Oh, wow.
Just to show up. A show and go. $1 million. Hey, Alex, do you mind writing a script based on our entire first video game? Like, word for word?
Yeah, Microsoft and Bungie.
By the way, we'll pay you $1 million to do it.
I mean, he was the right guy to do it, in my opinion. I love his movies, and he's apparently an avid gamer, so he fit the book perfectly for this one.
Yeah, and he did a really good job, too. Like, reading the screenplay itself is awesome, and we're not going to get into like the plot of that right now, but he wrote it. Yeah. It was awesome. Like I read it and freaking loved it. Absolutely.
So did I.
Now I remember, Matt, we read this article, and I think you brought this up to me immediately. But so this script was finished in like June. He started writing it in February, And in June 2005, when they were trying to distribute the screenplay, apparently a bunch of actors dressed in Master Chief armor.
I thought it was 5. I heard it was 5.
5?
Right.
So, yeah, these guys were just dressed up like Master Chief, and they were dispatched all over Hollywood to deliver copies of the Halo script to execs at studios, while the Master Chief guy would hang out inside the office waiting because there was like a time limit on the script saying they'd come in, they'd be like, hey, you got X amount of time to read this script or else we're not making a deal.
What the
Yeah,
what?
dude.
Microsoft.
So then you have a chief chilling in the lobby.
Yeah,
So.
right.
This is all stuff engineered by Microsoft. Like, they had so much like fuel in this fire. They had so much demands for this movie to get made, and we'll find out ultimately that their demands were kind of just too ridiculous.
Yeah, they were so confident that and they didn't want to sell the rights to Halo at all.
No.
Well, not at all. Not
They didn't want
because they already had terms made up. They said that whoever was going to buy it, they wanted $10 million up front, and once the film had come out, they wanted 15% of the film's gross profits, and that they also demanded 60 first-class plane tickets so that its top employees could go to the movie premiere. That never happened.
Wow.
And how did all
They
Hollywood?
got greedy.
They got greedy, right? And Drew, how did all of Hollywood respond to that?
So a deal finally hatched, probably not the one that Microsoft wanted, because instead of the powerhouse studios actually outbidding each other for the Halo rights, Fox and Universal came to a mutual agreement. And how it would go down was that Universal would sell the movie in America and Fox would sell overseas.
Right. So like Microsoft thought they had this huge, they thought they had this huge angle, this huge position of power.
Right.
And the movie industry just kind of, gave them the middle finger and said, nah, like we don't need to outbid each other. We're just going to combine our efforts, and then you'll make less money in the long run from it.
And so here's the problem now. You think you have 3 huge entities trying to work together. You think this is going to get done, huge budget, no problem.
That's
actually
the one thing. You
problem.
Think when two studios come together to do it, you'd think the budget becomes bigger. So that you think that would be a plus from this, definitely.
That's the problem though, because you have Microsoft, who is the original host of this title,
Who's trying to control everything.
They want the creative control, and you got Universal and Fox, who are trying to push their own visions,
companies.
and it just becomes a huge tug of war.
Wow.
So,
And what?
Yeah, go ahead, Bryan.
Well, I'm assuming they just elongated for too long, and then the two just ended up hating each other. Too much money, regardless was spent or not. They decided just to cut off the whole production.
Roughly. I mean, I'll keep going here. You're
You're
on the right track, though. So then now, by October 2005, Peter Jackson, who is most notably known for being involved with Lord of the Rings, and his wife Fran Walsh were on board as executive producers. So with him being involved, most of his movies are shot in New Zealand, and that's exactly what was going to be happening with Halo, and it was scheduled for a release of the summer of 2007.
New Zealand definitely would have worked to shoot the movie. Like I've never been there, but I would
Damn,
love to go.
dude, this movie was
Shout out to any
rough.
listeners if you're trying to hook me up with a trip to New Zealand.
I mean, I could
Feel
just instantly see like the map of Valhalla in Halo 3.
Yeah, it would be perfect. Yeah, for New Zealand,
just
like
grass,
the rocks,
That would've
on,
been really, really
yeah,
cool.
like
the
rocky,
mountainous,
but like grass,
Yeah.
and like waves crashing in.
Right, yeah.
Love it.
What's real interesting that I found about this was just how this movie script kind of just slipped through the cracks, because I personally had no idea, and like I kind of asked people, like my roommates and other people, saying like, "Yo, did you know there was going to be a Halo movie?" Like, no one really knows. For such a big game and for such like a big opportunity for a big movie to come out, it really just fell through, and then no one then forgot about it.
Exactly, and we have
you guys saying it's going to be really opened it back up for me.
We have the rest of the story here, so you're going to love the rest of this, so pay attention.
All right.
So now that we got Peter Jackson involved, you're thinking, all right, now we got a powerhouse executive up here.
This thing has to get made. That's what you're thinking, right? It has to get made.
Well,
They're on an incline.
the next step that happened now was that Guillermo del Toro was set to direct, and you may know this guy for directing Hellboy, Blade 2, The Shape of Water, and Pan's Labyrinth, just to name a few.
Credible, very credible
Which is
man.
interesting. I mean, I wonder how he would have done, because I would have never have chosen, if I was picking somebody, I would have never picked Del Toro, even though I like his movies.
Dude,
Like he definitely didn't play the games. I don't see Guillermo del Toro as much of a like an Xbox
Yeah.
360.
I mean, he might be, but we don't know.
We don't know, but we do know that he actually did spend a little bit of the budget, though, right? While he was involved with the project, he
Guillermo
ended
del
up spending
Toro?
like a couple $100,000. Or like,
I think he did. I don't know on
Wait,
what
for
movie.
himself?
no, like for the movie, like on like pre-developments. I think for like a Warthog and like some other stuff. I think.
Well, yeah, it was like Peter Jackson's production company was making all of the materials, like all the weapons and the vehicles and
Right.
stuff. Like they were basically like their
so
own
cool.
little like assembly line for Halo type machinery, basically.
Just all the props. Yeah.
Yeah,
How
where
cool
those-
would it be to
where
have
those
some of that
stores
stuff?
out
Oh my god!
Get your hands on some like
He
SMGs.
totally has like prototypes of it in his office.
That'd
I
be
would
so
bet.
cool. I'd love to get a helmet.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
So now that you have all these people into the mix, so all these creative people, they have all their own ideas. You just keep adding all these powerhouses of people. They're all expected to work together. So now, what do we got next here?
Shit hits the fan, sounds like.
No, there's more. There's more people that get involved
Oh, wow. We're still escalating, huh?
because they end up firing Guillermo del Toro
Well, no, he didn't fire. He didn't get fired. He actually he left himself because
to do Hellboy.
he left to do Hellboy 2: The Golden Army because there's not an exact reason why, but it's presumed that he left because there was just so much going on that he felt like he didn't have any creative control. He could not put any of his creative touch into anything. It was all just
Yeah, he smelled the
Puppeteer.
shitstorm that was brewing for sure.
yeah,
He got
absolutely.
that out of there. But then again, Hellboy 2: The Golden Army isn't exactly a paradise either. It's a decent movie. But
Yeah, I think I've only
that's
seen that
about
like
it.
once.
Second
Yeah, I don't know.
man steps up.
So then, okay, now the movie's out of a director. So Peter Jackson turns to a young director.
Opie.
At the time, no, this would be Neill Blomkamp,
A
who
guy
is
who-
known for District 9, Chappie, and Elysium.
Neil
But,
Blomkamp?
but at this point in his career, he had only done commercials in like small projects.
Yeah.
He had
Right.
not done a feature film.
No
yet.
feature films under his belt yet.
Oh, wow.
So very inexperienced, but I mean, this guy's
Cheap
aesthetic.
director.
This
You could
guy's
spend the money
aesthetic.
elsewhere then. Yeah, and he's aesthetic.
His aesthetic, his gritty aesthetic, I thought matches Halo perfectly.
Sure is. He would have done it well.
And Blomkamp, just like Garland, is apparently an avid gamer as well. So he jumped at this opportunity, but like we said, Microsoft was nervous because of his lack of experience, which you can't blame them for that. You
Yeah,
can't.
I mean-
under a business standpoint, you can't.
I mean, the Halo franchise is their baby. It's their biggest
Yes.
moneymaker. So,
Yeah.
of course, they're going to have skepticism about this brand new director.
So, nevertheless, Blomkamp does get the job, and he works incredibly hard on this project. And he even developed a rewrite for Alex Garland's script, which I thought was interesting. I mean, basically, out of this whole flop, Alex Garland is the one who won out of all this.
You're damn right
He
he
got
did.
$1 million just to write the first draft of this thing.
That's a 1
Yeah,
followed
wow.
by 6 zeros, folks. That's a
Yeah.
lot of zeros.
So we don't know what the. I mean,
128 pages.
that script might be floating around on the internet. I have no idea. I've never found it. So if you have it, send it our way, please.
On our way, yeah. obviously.
And you can actually get a look. We'll provide this in the show notes. You can get a look, a little taste of what a Blomkamp Halo movie would have looked like, because once like Halo 3 was coming and going into production, he decided to make a short film to promote that video game. And I don't know, have you guys ever seen this before?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool.
I've seen it, and I thought it was really cool, too.
Yeah.
What is it that you're asking? I'm sorry.
So he made, like... Drew, I'm going to correct
a
you,
short
too.
film.
It wasn't a short, like, little film for promoting Halo 3.
Yeah, it was.
It was just... No, I think he was just making it for the movie, and then they ended up deciding to use it for Halo 3 because they...
I mean, maybe
'cause they
that too.
trashed the movie idea before
Maybe
Halo
that
3
too,
came
then.
out.
Yeah, okay.
They had already decided
I think
to
I
cut
know
the
exactly
movie.
what you're talking about.
But, yeah, what they are...
Like that brick area.
It's like 5 minutes long. Yeah, they're fighting in like a brick wall like area against the Covenant.
Got it.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's a cool video.
I also read that he made the short because he was frustrated with the production's painfully slow progress of the film, the actual film. Mm-hmm. And once he was completed with it, Halo's producers, they of course took a look at it, and they weren't exactly enamored with his short. They weren't happy with his direction that he was going, which I thought was really strange. But I trust Blomkamp. I mean, he plays the video games. These producers, I don't think they play the video games, so he understands the world more than they do, in my opinion. So now at this point, the film's budget is around $135 million. With all the sides involved, the project everybody's demanding their own visions and profits. And finally, in September 2006, the project was officially ended. I
actually have a quote here from a Hollywood executive.
All right.
What ultimately killed the Halo movie was money. Microsoft's unwillingness to reduce their deal killed the deal. Their unwillingness to reduce their gross in the deal meant it got too top-heavy. The movie could have been Avatar. So basically, Microsoft wanted too much money of the pie. They wanted too big of a piece of the pie, and the producers and everyone that was from Hollywood back in the movie just backed out.
And now we suffer from it.
Exactly. All of the Halo lovers out there suffer.
Sadly suffer.
I mean, this movie would have made a ton of money, dude.
A bunch. You think of Avatar, but you think Avatar wasn't a video game before. So, I feel like that video game off a movie and it's Halo.
I mean, do you guys think this is dead forever? Like, there has to be another chance for this to come back.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Or is it blackballed from Hollywood now because of their poor business relations that they exemplified back in 2006?
True, because you'd have to get it from Microsoft.
Does Hollywood burn bridges with these nerds?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd say for a live-action feature film, that's the toughest route you're going to go. But since the video games have come out, they've already spawned comic books. They've already spawned like cartoon anime series.
There's so much. There was like this whole Halo wiki
novels
rabbit hole. I almost went down
a
couple of days ago because I was trying to research a character in the screenplay that we'll probably talk about in a little bit. But I was trying to research him, and there was this whole Halo wiki rabbit hole. I almost went down, and I almost probably spent an hour reading about just stupid Halo bullshit that doesn't even matter. Like that's not even in the video game.
Yeah. I mean, since there's a lot of Halo content out there that spawned from the video games now. I mean, like we've already said, I'd say a live action feature film is the hardest thing they're gonna try to accomplish with the Halo universe for sure.
True.
Well, now that we've got all the history down and all that information, you guys just want to start talking about the script?
Yeah, let's get into the story. I mean, it's basically, like we said, a summary of the first Halo video game.
Yes.
But it's still fun to talk about.
There's some differences.
Still real fun, yeah.
So this script is dated as February 6, 2005. Now remember, they didn't start shopping this thing around until June. It comes in at 128 pages, and what we're going to do is there's so much to talk about, you guys. So we're just going to talk about the main things that we liked, some major plot points, some differences that we found in the video game. So, Matt, you want to kick it off for us?
All right, so let's talk about the setup for this screenplay, the plot, because we mentioned earlier that the plot of the screenplay is generally the plot of the first Halo video game, but we got to give a little background information before we can get into everything. So, humanity is at war with the Covenant, an alien race, right? And it's because the Covenant declared some sort of holy reason for attacking humanity.
Yep.
And there was this place, right? There was this planet other than Earth called Planet Reach, colonized by humans, full of women and children and stuff. And Spartans like Master Chief, like hundreds of them, were sent to this Planet Reach to defend it from the Covenant. But the Covenant had too many numbers, right? And they overtook this Planet Reach and they killed everybody. Everybody died except Master Chief. He somehow is like the last Spartan remaining, right? And he's put on this ship called the Pillar of Autumn. And the Pillar of Autumn is flying through space and it's being chased by the Covenant. So they leap through space. They go through some sort of black hole, like space, I don't know what the heck. Light speed technology.
Space travel.
And they go and they go through a black hole or something, right? And they appear in an unknown location in space, unmarked. Right. They don't know where the hell they are. And they see this huge floating halo that looks like it has, land and stuff on it. And yeah, exactly. And thank you for that, Brian, because that's where the game basically starts in the first game. That's where the plot starts in the first game.
Yeah.
You see the halo, and they're like, wake up, Master Chief.
Right.
Wake him up.
The Covenant are boarding.
That 8-foot giant.
And that's exactly what happens in the screenplay. Like, Captain Keyes, he's in charge of the Pillar of Autumn.
Yeah.
And when they jump through space and realize the Covenant had followed them. They see the halo, and Cortana's like, no, Cortana doesn't suggest it. Captain Keyes says, Cortana, wake up, Chief.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he wants to go down with Captain Keyes wants to go down with the ship.
Right.
He wants Cortana to get off the ship so that the Covenant cannot capture her intelligence, so they can locate her. Yeah.
So as we know, too, the Pillar of Autumn crashes in the Halo.
Right.
And then the whole plot of the game and this screenplay takes place on the ring of this Halo.
Right.
Yep.
So while we're on the Pillar of Autumn, we meet a character that's not in the video game, and his name is Major Silva. And he's apparently the top-ranking officer of the Helljumpers, which I was kind of confused of who they were, because they're like special forces, so I don't know if they're like ODST, if you're familiar with those kind of guys.
I think it's something Alex Garland just kind of came up with.
Yeah, I don't...
Helljumpers
on his own.
Right.
They described as a team. I kind of took him as a part where they were humans like in like a metal suit, kind of like a chief, but it wasn't a chief. They're kind of like a
yeah, they're like the ODST guys.
ODST. They're just like more elite soldiers. I don't know, but Helljumpers, come on, Helljumpers. It sounds like a ragtag bunch of emo skydivers.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, just like we jump out of planes, but we don't even really enjoy it. Oh man, I hope my chute doesn't open. I really hope my chute doesn't open this time.
And I don't know if this Major Silva was supposed to replace Sergeant Johnson, if you remember him, in the video game, because he is not existent in this film or screenplay at all, which
is
I
sad
thought was really weird because
his character in the game is awesome.
He's such an important character.
Yeah.
So I actually was kind of disappointed about that.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
Thanks, Garland.
I think Major Silva was kind of the guy to like take his place. Maybe, but Major Silva's an asshole, so...
Yeah, he has a different dynamic. We'll talk about him later, but him and Chief just don't get along very well.
No way.
Major Silva and all the Helljumpers don't like Master Chief.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, dude, you have like the sickest ally on your team. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, right, but he's like, he's not human.
Right, but the last thing we want to mention about the Pillar of Autumn, about people that were on it before it crashed on the Halo, is this Private Jenkins, just this lowly... USMC soldier, but like that's how they kind of describe him, like in the screenplay at least. But I think in the game he has like a bigger character.
Yeah, he's in the
he's more important.
343 Guilty Spark level. He's one of the guys that like Master Chief finds this helmet, and on the back it says Jenkins, and that's how you see the flood first through this guy's helmet. So I don't know if that's an Easter egg, maybe.
Okay, well, I mean that's pretty sweet. But in the screenplay, Jenkins gives Master Chief his first weapon because he has this pistol, just like standard issue Marine, Space Marine pistol, and he just hands it to Master Chief, knowing that yo, dude, like protect us, because the Covenant were boarding the ship while they were still in space outside the Halo. So
what was etched in the pistol? I forgot.
What'd you ask?
He had some etched in the pistol. I forgot what it.
It said...
Nothing personal?
Yeah, nothing personal.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
That's a super badass thing to have in a pistol.
Real badass.
Jenkins is the man. Like we have to follow him throughout this script because it's so funny. So after like they land on the Halo and there's like battles that ensue and stuff. There's a scene where Master Chief sees Jenkins at like a base camp they set up, and he goes up to Jenkins and he's like, "Hey, here's your pistol. Thanks for letting me have it." And Jenkins just goes, "Nah, like keep it," because he's just in awe that Master Chief is even like remembering who he is.
Yeah.
So then Chief walks away, and this other lowly soldier comes up to Jenkins and is like, "Whoa, you know Master Chief?" And Jenkins says, "Oh yeah, we go way back." That was probably the funniest part of the script.
That was kind of funny, yeah. And this is also we have
some comedic reliefs in here.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Well, there were some bad attempts at comedic relief, but I thought that one like really stuck. It really hit home. It was good.
Yeah, but there are some other ones.
And this is where we have a second run-in with Major Silva. And this is when I was really like, all right, what's this guy's issue? Because so Chief, like we were saying, is at this base, and he wants to go talk to Silva because Keyes went down with the ship, so his location is unknown. Silva knows what it is, but he doesn't want Chief to know where Keyes is. He doesn't even want Chief to fight.
Yeah.
Why?
The logic,
this guy just wants to do it all.
He doesn't
The logic
Just because
behind
Cortana?
I'll tell you why. Yeah,
Cortana.
It's because Chief has Cortana as like a microchip, like in his head, and they don't want him fighting because they don't want to lose Cortana because she's the AI that has all of their information, their strategy, everything.
Just bury Cortana underground and just let Chief go fight. They'll win the war for you. What'd you say?
Let her roll. If they put her in a hamster ball, let her roam around.
Well, something interesting. I mean, since we're talking about Cortana, I'll just bring this up. In the screenplay, there's a moment where he pops her into his head for the first time, and she starts talking to him, like, just through his like neural brainwaves and shit. And he's like freaked out by it, kind of, because I guess they had never had that interaction before. And in the game, it's like just like a real smooth transition. He just pops in his head, and like they just kind of talk. But it just was like more realistic, I think, in the screenplay. I like that.
Oh, and the dreams, yeah.
Well, the dreams too. Yeah, sure. I thought the dreams were interesting, but
that's what Cortana is like in his dreams, and that's when you like see her complete figure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she's like a part of his mind.
Yeah.
And they really they explored that. Garland did, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
He did real well with it.
Well, I mean, another thing that I thought was cool, what they did in the screenplay that you never got in the video game is we're gonna fast forward now to it would be. I think the third level of the video game, which is Truth and Reconciliation, if you remember that one, where you start out, you get off the Pelican, you have a sniper rifle, and you're invading a Covenant ship.
Truth and Reconciliation is the name of the Covenant ship.
Yeah, they're going to invade the because that's where Keyes is being held prisoner.
Being held captive. Yeah.
So in this is after they go up the gravity lift to get inside the ship, and this is when the hunters come out in like this like docking bay area, and like a ton of Marines get killed. A hunter goes down, and Master Chief actually picks up the hunter's like big cannon and uses it.
It's like a giant plasma cannon,
which was crazy. Which was crazy to think about because for whatever reason you could never use it in the game, and that was always a game that I wanted to use.
A gun,
yeah, like this big thing. And then also the hunters apparently are like a cluster of eel-like creatures. They said in the script it said that once the hunter was killed, like a bunch of these little creatures just like slithered away that made this mass body.
It made no sense.
Of a creature. It made no sense.
Right.
I'll tell you what it did do. It creeped me the fuck out.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was so creepy. I was like,
dude, the hunters.
Did you imagine that?
They made the coolest sound.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they were awesome. They're awesome. You can only shoot them in the back,
but they're that big. You're telling me it's great. That big, and then when it dies, it just becomes a bunch of like little eels. Ugh.
Right.
That's disgusting.
And then also like in this general area, I can't remember what the exact like catalyst for this moment was, but this is when we find out what's Silva's hostility towards Master Chief is all about. Is that Silva blames Master Chief specifically for the fall of Planet Reach.
Right, that's that planet that was colonized by the people that I talked about in the beginning.
That's the reason Silva does not like Master Chief, which
that's
pretty childish, man, to blame one guy
for getting overrun by a bunch of aliens.
It's like, dude,
whose
you were
numbers
there too.
Supersede humans' numbers just as like a fact. That's what they talk about in the screenplay too.
Yeah.
Garland describes that, like that the Covenant, they have so many more individuals than humanity has.
Yeah, right.
And war is a numbers game.
Yeah.
So how can Silva blame them? It's bullshit. It's like, dude, like they did their best. They got overrun. They did their best. They got overrun. And Silva should just be happy that he has this ultimate warrior on his side, following orders too. Because that's one thing Chief always does. Sorry, Brian. I'm like, that's the one thing Chief always does. Like, he just continues to follow orders throughout everything.
Yeah, he's pretty mindless. He has no character really, like as far as trying to show a different side. I mean, because he's basically just who you are in the video game. You're just a guy running around killing shit. And that's all he is in the script. Like they didn't really try to add another dimension to him at all, really, which was kind of disappointing. But I mean, I don't really know what else you can give this guy. He's just a killing machine. That's what he's programmed to do.
He's just a guy. Like he's a guy that if you were watching this movie, if it had got made, you're sitting there watching, you're like, I don't like this guy. That's
Chief?
definitely what you're thinking. No, about Silva, about Major Silva. You're like, oh, I don't like this guy.
No, he was not. I also thought that that like antagonistic quality to him was really forced too.
Yeah, it was obvious.
Yeah, like they just were like, well, we need to have like a guy on Chief's side who doesn't agree with him. I think that's basically what Silva was made to be.
Definitely.
And that's all. Okay, I want to go back to Chief, though, because I wrote some notes here of how they described what he was. There were, like, specific shots in the movie that were kind of confusing because there would be some times where it would be like, Chief will take his helmet off, but we don't see his face, or, like, within the shot, like, you can't see his face.
I remember that.
But then there would be, like, shots, like, or description in, like, a dream or another, like, cluster of exposition where it says, like, we saw his face, right? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
It was really weird. It was like, we see his face, then you don't want us to see his face. Like, I thought the whole, like, mysterious thing about Master Chief was that we never see what he actually looks like.
True.
I don't know if in the script they were trying to actually show us what he looked like. I just thought that was confusing.
Something I remember Garland mentioning, too, so there was one point in the script, it was like a dream of Master Chief's where he takes off his helmet and, like, we're supposed to see part of his face.
Yeah.
But then there's a dream kind of thing later on where the head flood guy is trying to get in Chief's head, and he brings him to his dream world, and then we see his face again, but it's, like, all scarred. It's different.
Yeah.
And then it's just, like, Garland trying to show us that Chief isn't a person. He's just a soldier. And, like, he doesn't have a face. It's just scars, like... To me, that's like what I took from that, and it was kind of insane, like when you think about it. But I mean, that's what Chief is. All he is a soldier. He doesn't have a face. He just has scars.
Yeah,
scars, no face, and just like judging when you say that, looking back in the like what he says to other people, kind of just like one straight liner. It's not really elongated sentences. You know, he's just kind of like
he's very short and direct.
Yeah, I mean,
makes him a soldier rather than a human.
We could get into a whole discussion, and we don't have to, like, about how is that, like, ethical, you know? Obviously it's not.
Psychographic.
I mean, he doesn't even have a personality. He doesn't even make his own decisions. It's insane.
Yeah, that's just what makes him a perfect soldier, though. I mean,
and that's what makes a good video game character to play as, too.
Yeah. They do, Garland does talk a little bit about of just what his like what he kind of looks like, though. This is when he's like tending to some wounds, which actually like reminded me of kind of like a Predator sequence of how Predator would heal himself. But he's described as being like having like bleached white skin, shaved head, and I mean I read some Halo comic books. Actually, they're called the Halo Reach comic series. I could be saying the wrong title, but it kind of illuminates more about like Master Chief's background and like when he was a kid and how the military would go around and recruit like all these little kids who were like genetically just better than all humans in this galaxy of colonies that the humans have now taken over. So I mean, it's just kind of differed. So I don't know when these comics were made, if it was before the script or whatever, but that just differed between the vision that I have of Master Chief, at least.
Yeah.
Just to nerd out for a second.
The introduction of the Flood was great in the screenplay, but I even liked what happens before when they're first on the inside, when it's just Master Chief, just the Marines and Cortana, when they walk in and they're like, where's the Covenant?
Oh, yeah.
They should be here.
I wanted to talk about that, too. I forgot about that. Yeah, go ahead.
They should be here now. And then they think, I don't know if they have like a radar. It reminded me of like aliens.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're just behind this door. And then little do they know they have alien elites that just have saber swords and have invisible shields.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. That was my favorite part of the screenplay for sure.
That was a scene that like
I loved it.
It would have been so cool in the movie.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have been so cool.
Oh yeah.
Because Master Chief was like telling, I don't know how many Marines, but there were a lot. There were like at least like 30 or something, and he was telling them all to like circle up and make like a huge like circle perimeter. And then all of a sudden, like, these elites just close in and just start massacring everybody with saber swords.
Slicing and dicing people.
Yeah, it was nuts.
The saber sword, though, the best weapon in the game. At least my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
It was so fun, yeah. Well, no, I mean, if we're talking best weapons in the game, Shoddy Snipes, for sure. Shotties and Snipes.
Yeah.
Garland, good writing there.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was real good. But yeah, but then we move in when the Flood comes in, which... I love the Flood too. Another one of my great favorite enemies in Halo. In the way
they're awesome.
Is this when
freaky.
Private Johnson comes back?
Jenkins.
Yeah,
Here.
This is when he comes back. His final.
Well, Jenkins has a great line after. I mean, you just nicely summarized that scene where there's the invisible elites like attacking the Marines and Master Chief. And after the Marines and Master Chief win that battle and they kill all the elites, Jenkins walks up to a dead body and just says, he says, "How's it feel to be dead?"
Like what? Like what?
It's just like, yeah, like, really, Jenkins? Like, how long have you been a Marine? Like, you've been flying around in outer space for this long, and you're still dropping lines like that?
Well, I remember in the video game,
after your buddies just got killed,
the Marines would always be like, "Get up so I can kill you again."
in the game,
in the game they'd say that.
They would say that, so I guess that fits. Then they're just insane.
What I was really anticipating when he was killing all the elites, I was really just anticipating just to hear a subtle if he would have wrote in double kill, triple kill.
What, like the badges?
If he was like narrating himself, yeah. If he was narrating it himself, that'd be awesome.
Oh my god.
Nice touch. So while Master Chief is alone looking for Marines that are still alive after the elite attack and other people have moved around, he starts hearing noises coming from like maybe like a north hallway. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he starts walking towards it. Hello, hello, going on his comm, looking if anybody will respond to him. And he hears one guy running, one Marine, one lone Marine. Lo and behold, it's Private Jenkins. He goes up to Master Chief and he's asking for him. He wants his what's the name of the gun? M60 pistol back. And he's like, of course, Master Chief gives it back to him, thinking he's going to help him fight, doesn't know what's going on. Jenkins blows himself right in the temple. Kills himself right away.
With nothing personal. The name of the gun was nothing personal.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
It was just like, right? I need my gun.
And this is when Chief is completely mind blown, but then the sounds get closer and closer.
And then he sees the flood.
We're introduced to the flood.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool scene, I thought.
That is a really cool
Poor
scene.
Jenkins, man. He is, they establish him as just this good Marine who just, gives Master Chief his gun, and then he has a little comedic relief for you about a quarter through the film or the screenplay. And then, boom, he just blows his own head off.
Yeah, he had like a couple of appearances.
It was so unexpected when reading that. I was like, oh. He just killed himself.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this was a rated R movie, for sure. The way the script was written, it was rated R.
No swearing, really. Just violence.
So much violence.
A lot of plasma grenades. He loved the plasma grenades.
Sticky bombs.
Count would have been the grunt kill count.
So at the end, Keyes is like the main bad guy. The Flood have like taken him over as a vessel, as our main Flood bad guy. And
which is interesting that the Flood chose him.
Yeah.
Maybe because they knew it'd be like an interesting dynamic with
Dude,
Chief.
I love it.
Well, they went more into detail about the Flood, is that when the Flood takes you over, they take in all of the information from the host. So, I mean,
all of your memories, all of your thoughts.
Yeah, out of all the soldiers that the Flood have taken over, Keyes is the most knowledgeable. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense that he would be the technical leader, I guess. Or not the leader, but the superior one out of all of them. And I think, I kind of made a weird correlation. I don't think this is true about those Hell Jumper guys. But I remember there was like some conversation between Silva and like one of the Hell Jumper guys. They're going on like a Hell mission, and one of the guys was like, all right, yeah, I'll see you in Hell. And that's when all those guys got killed by the Flood. And there's a specific piece of dialogue that Master Chief says, or Cortana says, like when they're on the Pillar of Autumn at the end, like in the last level, the Maw. That when they're discovering these Marines that have been taken over by the Flood, that they're in Hell now. So I don't know if that was a direct correlation or if that was just coincidental, but I kind of made that weird conclusion that maybe they're correlated. But
I saw that too, and like to describe more about like they're in Hell, it's because the Flood is like this hive-minded like virus, basically, right? And when it infects you, your body becomes nothing. It's just kind of like
just like reanimated.
Yeah, because there's like plants and stuff on it. It becomes like just like weird dead tissue.
Yeah,
and but your mind stays alive, like, but it's occupied by the Flood, and you're basically like just in like a mental prison,
like a purgatory.
Exactly, right?
Kind of like
It's
it's Hell. That's exactly what it is.
Off the how they take over your body when he's in the screenplay, when he's writing, he's saying how they're all coming at Chief. He's killing them off, running out of ammo. He finally gets the last one. But then all the dead Marines get up because they're all they all just got transformed from getting eaten up by the flood. So there's another wave of enemies coming at him already.
I couldn't imagine that, dude.
He's
Even in the
just
video
gonna
game,
be
it's kind of
Master
scary,
Chief.
but real
He's
life.
dead. He's dead. He's dead. Something happens.
But okay, so Master Chief fights Captain Keyes at the end, and I actually thought that battle was really anticlimactic. Like, I thought some of the ending battles were pretty lame, like too easy. I mean, it's Master Chief.
Yeah,
we know he's gonna
C-3PO
win.
guy.
Yeah, like it's Master Chief. We know he's gonna win. We know he's gonna win. I mean, the whole time, like I never feared for his life. Like I never felt like he was challenged really, because I knew he would succeed.
Yeah,
you know, which, I mean, we all know that, but
because the video game does that. You know, you die, you just come back.
see, like I don't even remember how he killed Keyes. That's how like unforgettable it was. And then when Chief gets in the Warthog, like in the last level, driving through the ship to get to the Pelican.
Which is always a fun level to play.
Yeah, which you're just like, you know, going insane on the Warthog, you know, evading stuff, explosions
That was
everywhere.
the most video game picture when I was reading that part. I was like, oh, this is that level.
Right.
Video game.
And that's like a level that they kind of like bring back in other games too. Like it's
Oh,
it's in
yeah,
the first
it's always
game,
like
it's in
the
third
finale.
game, it's in the fourth, I think. Like yeah, it's always the finale, which is dope.
So as we're getting
Fucking
to,
awesome.
so like as Chief is driving through, he gets to the end, like where his destination needs to be, and this is where the character Fohammer, the pilot, is picking him up. And as he gets onto the Pelican,
Great name, Fohammer.
Fohammer's like, she's like, I'm sorry, you know, like all of a sudden it's Silva, a Flood Silva, who's like, you know, stabbed her with like an arm or something, throws her aside, and then Chief just punches a grenade like through his like heart region
in the plane.
Yeah, like in the plane, then just throws him out. Like there was no like showdown with like this like superior Flood enemy, like no one-on-one like sick battle. It was just get out of my way.
Yeah, he just gets a grenade to the belly and tossed.
Like that was cool, but at the same time, I was like, dude, like you've had beef with this guy the whole script. Like you gotta throw down with this guy right now.
How about Fohammer, the pilot, doesn't even notice there's some giant flood thing breathing over his shoulder?
Yeah. So
it's pretty.
I thought that was too easy.
It's Master Chief, though. It is Master Chief.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate it.
So what do you guys think? Overall thoughts? Should we jump into that, or you got anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan. You know, huge Bungie, Microsoft Halo guy, video game wise.
Yeah, for sure.
Reading the script, it was just like, damn. Like if this was a movie, I would have been all for it.
Yeah, seriously.
And just, it really does help though when you play the game and because I feel like an outsider, if you're reading this, you'd be like, Cortana, what is this? You just gotta be able to nerd out and just be able to enjoy it, just how I did, we did. But overall, number four scripts I'm reading so far, and they're getting better and better than the ones I read.
I kind of disagree with you there. I think even if you've never even heard of Halo, I think the script was written well enough and the story like makes enough sense that I think you could totally understand it and still like think it was good, even if you had never even played the video game. Garland, I thought Garland did an awesome job, but I mean he got paid $1 million, so he deserved all of that money, I guess, because
he collected his check.
He did a really good job. I mean, Microsoft had their strict list of itemized things that he had to have in there, but he put them all in there, and the story made sense. And it's just really, really sad that the movie didn't get made.
Yeah,
real sad.
I mean, I think I'm going to echo some things. I mean, I thought the script was really badass. It's totally action-packed, and this is definitely a Halo script.
Mm-hmm.
He did this thing, I mean, pretty much perfectly. I don't think I would have asked anything more out of it. A couple things where I already said, where's Sergeant Johnson? I would have loved to see him. A couple other things that I noticed that were not in here that were from our universes. There were no Banshees. There were no tanks, Wraiths.
Right, yeah. The only vehicles we saw were ghosts and
warthogs. Yeah,
that was it. No mongoose.
That wasn't introduced, I think, till Halo 3. The mongoose.
You're talking about brutes?
What's up?
You're talking about brutes? They were in the first one.
We're talking about vehicles.
No. There were no brutes in the first movie, in the first video game.
Yeah, just hunters.
Which, I mean, it's odd that they didn't include those things because the budget was, around $130 million.
And those things had been created at that point in time.
Yeah. Which, all right, whatever. And understandably, I mean, not all the missions are. You can't put all the missions into a 2-hour movie. Or yeah, I mean, hopefully we get a Halo movie in our lifetime, guys. Right?
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
feel
awesome.
like I don't know. Just last one, but I've been thinking about. It was kind of ahead of its time. You think about all the editing and like post editing, filming, CGI, and all that jazz to make this movie great. It's basically would be like all CGI.
I kind of agree with you. Yeah, like
It would've,
the technology now definitely supports making a better visual movie, but I mean, still, like, there's movies from 2006 that blow your mind. Like, Avatar was 09, so 06, like, they could have done it.
Yeah.
They could have done it and made it awesome.
Right.
So, I get what you're saying, Brian, but, I mean, goddamn,
like
I just want to see it happen. Just make the movie. Just make the movie, Microsoft. Stop being so greedy, Microsoft.
So that's Halo. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. And I think it was summed up pretty well at the end there. Just set money and politics aside and make a Halo movie. The fans deserve it, and I'd like to think it would be a success as well. No matter what platform you're using to listen to us, I just want it to be known that we're available on iTunes, Spreaker, and YouTube. So if you like our content, please be sure to follow all of our channels so you can stay in the loop with new episodes. Also, feel free to give us a rating and leave comments, or send us an email at screenplayjunkie.show@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your feedback. The next episode is going to be totally different than what we normally do here on Screenplay Junkie. I'm currently in the process of making a short film, and the goal with this was to see what I could do all by myself only using an iPhone. So basically what I'm going to do is document how I made it into a finished product. And I mean, this idea is pretty simple as far as location and shots, but I'm pretty excited and nervous, I should say, to see how it turns out. I know it won't be perfect. However, it's all about putting in the effort and learning from your experiences. So we hope you can tune in next time. Thanks.